Alright, so we are back at it again with another upload, and today I will be talking bespoke shoes. Why you should look into it, why you should consider investing in a bespoke shoes, and I will share with you one bespoke shoes that I have, and it is my favorite as of the moment. So here we go. In terms of bespoke shoes, what does that mean? What it means is that it's a shoe that's designed specifically for your feet, taking into consideration your real life size and dimensions and shape of your foot. Now, with respect to the shoes itself, as well as in reference to Bespoke, you get to determine what material or kind of leather the shoe is done off, what kind of sole it will have, as well as the kind of color, tarnish, as well as the different options you'd like to see on your shoes. Now, what are the benefits of getting a bespoke shoe relative to an off-of-the-rack shoe? Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's a shoe that is designed to fit your foot. And a good fitting shoes is important for the health of your feet, but also for the comfort and long-term wearability of the shoes. Secondly, you get to design the shoe or work with the cobbler or shoemaker to design the shoe for your preference, for your style. So it's a very unique statement of your own style and a representation and extension of who you are. It's how you present yourself to the world, and it's a kind of statement as to who you are and the kind of person you are, which in its own makes you unique relative to everybody that goes, let's say, into Aldo or College Spring. I don't even know if College Spring is still around or not. But you go in, you pick a shoe off of the rack, which another 1,000 guys have the same exact shoe. So there are definitely a fit and comfort benefits to it. There's a style benefit to it. And that's really why you go for a bespoke shoe. The third point, or the third benefit that I think doesn't get spoken a lot about, is that bespoke shoes for the most part tend to last way longer relative to off of the rack. And the reason being is that if you go for a bespoke shoe, you are going to be spending a bit more upfront. So if you're gonna do that, you might as well get the best leather, the best stitching style, and the best sole material. So generally speaking, if you get a good quality bespoke shoe, it should last you a lifetime as long as you maintain it well. Relative to, let's say, an off-of-the-rack shoe that you can buy for $100 or less, that shoe is gonna last you for, let's say, if it's a good shoe, maybe a couple of years, but it'll eventually be worn out. It depends also on how often you wear it and the wear and tear on it. But most of these shoes don't last long in my experience. Shoes are one of those things that if you splurge upfront more on it, I find that you can get more benefit off of it long run. But if you go cheap on it, you're gonna keep spending on it over time to maintain having shoes in place and the benefit of having the shoe. So let's say the three things are fit and comfort, it's a style statement, as well as just it's a long-term investment which pays for itself. Now, is there any downside to owning a bespoke shoe? And that is yes, it's the price. Anytime you're gonna get a bespoke shoe or anything that's handmade for you in particular, it will cost more relative to commercially mass-produced shoes. So that, I guess, at a high level and early on in consideration, is a downside. But long run, like I said, the shoe's more than pays for itself in terms of comfort, wearability. It's a style statement, but more importantly is that over the lifetime of a bespoke shoe, you will not be spending money on buying other shoes. People that tend to have bespoke shoes tend to have a limited quantity of shoes because they focus more on quality. And if you're focused on quality, you already have shoe styles and makes that you're very comfortable and satisfied with. Meanwhile, if you go on sort of the more commercialized, mass-produced shoes, they don't last that long. You're always gonna be cashing or you're always gonna be putting money out periodically to buy new shoes, so it'll still look fresh and will still be good for wear. But in terms of, just the amount of money you invest, yes, upfront you will invest more on the bespoke shoes. But I say long run, bespoke shoes is actually cheaper than constantly going and buying brand new shoes. So with that said, today I have an Italian bespoke shoe. So I got this made specifically for myself. This is from Bontoni. So these guys are out in Italy, and as you can see, the sleeve, it comes in a really nice sort of crema / camel hair colored sleeve. And once you do pull the shoe out, it's also wrapped in a plastic bag just to kind of preserve it and keep it scratch free. And then once you pull it out, this is what the shoe looks like. So it's an Oxford, it's an English style Oxford shoe, and it's basically, as you can see on the inside, you got a shoe tree, which is really important for maintaining the shape of your shoe, regardless if you have a bespoke or regular shoes. I recommend investing in these if they don't come with your shoe, because this is fairly expensive. It came included in the price, and I believe, actually, I was gonna say oak, but I can't quite remember what this is made of. But you've got here an Oxford style bespoke Bontoni, and on the top here, this is actually bison leather and is tarnished in this nice reddish brownish hue for the color. And the bottom is actually, interestingly, and this is the only kind of shoe I have that's this way, is rubber. And the reason it's designed with rubber is because where I live, we get quite a bit of rain, snow, and if you have natural leather sole, it's gonna start rotting. But if you have a rubber, you get better traction as well as a longer life out of the shoe. The other interesting thing about this shoe is that all the sort of pieces are pulled together with hand stitching. So let's see if I can show you this on camera, but if you look here, all of this is hand stitched in. So the shoe as well as the sole is hand stitched in and pulled together by stitching. So this is handmade from scratch, and it's pretty much one of my favorite shoes to wear. And again, as I mentioned, I love the classical Oxford look. In terms of the fit, it's designed for my feet, so it's a perfect size. And as I mentioned, this is bison leather, so it does come a bit at a premium. I did choose this kind of leather because I wanted something different, unique, and something that will last a long time. It does come from sustainable sources, so I'm not too concerned there. But in terms of the style, you can see, for example, the holes done here for this brogue style. So this style too, other than being an Oxford, is called the brogue. And basically anytime shoes have this pattern on it when it has holes, it's a brogue. And you can tell that these holes were burnt in just because of the different burn marks around the holes. And this is tarnished by hand, meaning that the shoemaker didn't just take a piece of leather and kind of mass color it in tubs the way they usually would do. No, he actually took a brush and sat down with paint or tarnish and painted manually different coats on the shoe. Now, depending on the intensity of the color as well as the style of the shoe, it can be as little as 3 coats till up to 20 coats. So that again will depend. Each shoe is different. And yeah, so this color, like I said, is one of my favorite. Has this orange, reddish, brownish hue to it, and it's just a perfect color for my preference. This wears very well because it's an Oxford style or a brogue, as I've said earlier. It wears very well with a suit or also with jeans. It's a very versatile shoes, and so far I have found it to be fantastic to wear, very comfortable for long day wears and long time wears, unlike a lot of the other brogues that I had bought previously that are mass produced. They tend to be very uncomfortable and they just don't last that long, and I don't want to wear them for very long periods of time. Now, coming to the sole of this, so the sole is actually Vibram, and Vibram is a very particular kind of rubber that's produced in Italy, and it was initially produced to be used commercially, I believe, and in car tires, and then it moved into shoes. So it is a patented kind of rubber, and there's a lot of benefits to having it, as I've mentioned, other than the traction. It actually has a bit of a bounce to it, so it's a shock absorbent kind of rubber, and this actually helps with the wearability of the shoes for long periods of time. And this for me is invaluable because I do walk quite a bit, and also if I'm gonna wear a shoes during my working day and working hours for long periods of time, I love having a shoe that is comfortable. So a stylish shoes or a formal shoes does not have to be uncomfortable, which is what everybody's used to when you buy off of the rack. But when you buy a bespoke shoes, you can definitely control that and also get something that's a better fit and that is enjoyable to wear. Now, in terms of this shoes, I get quite a lot of compliments on it when I do wear it and I go outside, and that doesn't surprise me. Like I've said, it's a very gorgeous looking shoes, very well designed, very beautiful, and it's definitely, as I've said, shoes are a statement of style, so it's a reflection of who you are. It's a way for you to say that you are this kind of a person without saying anything. In my opinion, a lot of the time, shoes just speak for you. It's the kind of a statement where you say, I have arrived. And this is the kind of shoes that speaks that on your behalf. Unlike, let's say, if you get off of the rack shoes, it says, well, you know what? I'm working on it, and this is the shoes I'm taking to arrive at my destination. A bespoke shoe says you have arrived. You are that guy. You are the man, all right? And again, I would speak for the ladies, but I don't have much experience with women's bespoke shoes. So I'm not gonna speak to that. I'm speaking more from my experience with men's bespoke shoes. But definitely makes a difference. When I was younger, I never really cared much for shoes, and I just wore whatever was comfortable. But as I've gotten older, I've started developing an appreciation for style, an appreciation for how I represent myself, as well as what I put on my feet. And definitely what I've noticed over time is that people are always looking at what you're wearing on your feet. In particular, ladies. I'm not sure why, but almost one of the first thing a woman will ever, or a girl, check on you is what you have on your feet. Not sure what the logic or rationale behind it is, but if you're in the dating game and you're looking to leave an impression, not necessarily impress a woman, but leave her with a certain idea of who you are as a man, definitely invest in bespoke shoes. It will set you apart, but also shows that you have a certain element of standard for yourself, which again speaks a lot about you as a person. Now, do you need the shoe to impress somebody, or like I've said, make a statement, or to make yourself feel better or more confident? No. I think the shoe should be a reflection of what's inside of you and not the other way around, where you're wearing the shoe to try to influence yourself by getting external validation. So this can definitely be used both ways. I like to think of it as the other way. It's a reflection of who I am as a person, and this is the way I'd like to present myself and carry myself. And it's also something that I dearly enjoy. I enjoy wearing well-made shoes. I enjoy dressing up. So why not have something, as long as you can afford it? Do keep in mind that bespoke comes in very different budgets. So just to emphasize that, if you can't afford it right now, that's fine. Maybe in the long run you will, but it's something to keep into consideration when you get into this. And shoes, I would have never believed this when I was younger if you had told me, but it definitely becomes an addiction. When I was younger, I used to look at guys that get into sneakers, and I think these guys are insane. Why are they so obsessed over footwear and spending so much money and investing in it? Other than being a status symbol and the hype, it's just once you start getting into shoes, it's not just about the shoes and about the style and about a reflection of who you are as a person. It's about taking care of yourself. Having good shoes is a form of self-care. You're taking care of your feet, your comfort, and with that comes your self-esteem and your mental state. And like I've said, you're presenting to the world who you are. And as much as we would like to think that looks don't matter, at the end of the day they do. It's not just among humans, it's everywhere in the natural world. Every animal, insect, creature, etc. strives to present itself in the best manner possible. Evolutionarily speaking, there are mating and other biological pressures, but at the end of the day, it is natural to want to look good and present yourself in the best possible light and manner. So if you're gonna do that and you have the means and the resources to do that, consider a Bespoke shoes. Definitely worth the investment, and it is something that will reap benefits and returns over time. I hope this was informative and helpful, but as you can tell, I'm really passionate about Bespoke shoes. I enjoy them quite a lot, and I definitely foresee getting more in the long run. If you like the content, consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.